Alright. Alright. Welcome back to The Rising of the Shield Hero Anime Review episode number 19. We're reviewing the opening episode of season 3 for The Rising of the Hero. This one's called The Dark Coliseum. We adapt from book 10 here, and it seems like this episode, it seems like when you watch it, and if you ever get a chance to read the book, it seems like they adapt almost the entire book in one episode. Well, not really per se. They skip over a lot of content here. But there's a reason why. Okay, here's the reason why. Because there are 4 chapters they skipped over. They adapt mostly bits and pieces, most of the first 4 chapters and chapters 9 to 15. And if you're curious, what about chapters 5 through 8? Well, those chapters were adapted for the final episode of season 1. A season that aired back in 2019. So yeah, with this particular episode, we kind of in a way covered the first 15 chapters in 2 episodes. Yeah. Though, some of the stuff basically from those chapters were loosely adapted for that season. In the book itself, basically, if you've ever seen the anime, like, if you read the book before read the anime, in the book, basically, it's at this point, that's where the Shield Hero gets his territory. Though, in terms of the anime, he got that back in season 1 of the show. The reason I heard why they partially adapted this book for the final episode of season 1, because the studio had no idea if they were going to get a season 2. Much less a season 3, they had no idea. But here's the thing. In Japan, this series bombed. It did terrible in Japan. But then it gets streamed in the United States. And it did really well. So well that Crunchyroll, this is by far the first and only time I've ever heard of a streaming service ever doing this. They personally contacted the studio who made this series to greenlight a seasons 2 and 3, which they did. And it took them about 3 years to basically release a season 2. And it was 13 episodes. And it was a bit of a mess. Stuff was out of order for no apparent reason. At least in the case of this season. Starting off, we're not doing that. Thank God for that. So, we're basically doing the aftermath of the Spirit Tortoise arc, which we saw first season. The Spirit Tortoise arc and the New World stuff. Basically, when we go to the Glass, that was basically all adapted for the previous season of the show. They kind of in a way rushed through about 4 books in kind of 4 books, most like 3, in the course of 13 episodes. Now, we already have the Shield Hero Argaz territory already established, basically the end of season 1. As a matter of fact, you see it at the start of season 2 and at the end of season 2. Now, if you're really curious about basically what was skipped over here, mostly, it was like build the village and him getting the territory. That was done back in season 1, so basically you kind of think of the studio, because here's the thing. The reason why that the last season turned out the way it did was because they decided to replace the director from the first season, who actually did a much more better job handling the adaptation than the guy who directed season 2. So, my guess is that what happened is that the studio was not happy with how the guy handled season 2, so they brought back the guy who directed season 1, which in my opinion was a smart idea. And this episode turned a lot better. It didn't feel rushed. Yeah, there was stuff skipped over here, but we're just trying to go through it as quickly as can. I mean, the chapters themselves are not very long. I mean, here's what happens. First, we start off, basically, we have sort of a flash forward, where we have the Shield Hero, Reptalia, and Philo in a Coliseum. By the way, the episode's called Dark Coliseum, which, here's an interesting fun fact. Did you know it's also the name of the 11th chapter of Book 10? Yes, seriously. So, kind of in a way, like we have this little bell, and then we have a flashback, and a lot of the episode leads into that. So, Nafumi is asked to come to capital by the queen. On the way there, he sees people who were basically part of the alliance take on the spirit tortoise. And like, okay, they also bring up the fact that it's going to take about 3 months, about 3.5 months until the next beast basically awakens, the phoenix. That's not going to be explored here. That's a lot of the stuff related to Phoenix and the Spirit Tortoise. That's all brought up from the book itself, which good job they brought it up here. I mean, yes, they're kind of fast pacing through about, if you think about it, roughly about, well, if you think about 4 chapters, it is mostly about, like, it's like basically the case this episode, the first 4 chapters. It's like this season started out basically adapting stuff they skipped over from the first season of the show to finish out the first 4 chapters, and then go straight to chapters 9 and 15. So they did that kind of in a way, 9 full, basically about, I'd say about 7 full chapters in one episode. The chapters were a bit lengthy, but they try to keep as much as they can in the episode as they can. So we start, and then we get to the capital. We have the queen talking to the Shihiro about basically what's happened, the aftermath of basically the Spirit Tortoise's death. The spear, sword, and bow hero have disappeared along with Melty's sister. Amelcia's sister. Whore. That was eventually. I'm not calling her by her name because it's a swear word. Yeah. So, and of course, he's also asked about the 7-star heroes, and she knows where one of them are. And it's confirmed in this episode that the staff hero is in fact the king, the previous the basically the Queen of Melsmook's husband, the standing king, who was referred to as Trash. Yes, seriously, that was Nafumi's idea. Yes, from season 1, it was his idea to rename the king Trash, and renamed the queen's own daughter Whore, as her original actually be Bitch, because how terrible people these people are. And here's the strange thing, though, that this oldest daughter, you think, oh, because she's a princess, was she first on the throne? No, her younger sister is. Which is weird, to say the least. Oh gosh, yes, it is weird, the fact that it is. Now, I think it was explained in story that the reason why this is because of how unstable the older princess is. That's the reason why. And because she chose life adventure over being or live life as a princess. And also the fact she tried to murder her own sister. Now, as what happened to the heroes, don't know, they're not here. So, Nafumi basically, this is also in the book where he asked for the territory, which he already got in the season 1, so it's like we're skipping over stuff, basically, we already got in season 1. Like, asking for the territory, which he got, and the fact gets the village, which you have Talia's village, and the fact gets people in to rebuild it. Basically, in a way, we're just filling this little gaps that we skipped over from the end of the season. That's mostly put exactly what we're doing here. And then he goes down the cellar, gets pieces of the Spirit Tortoise so he can unlock some more abilities. And of course, that's when he finds out that the staff hero is in fact Trash. Yep. And the fact that, it's a hero. We also see the fact there's certain officials that the Queen is been attempting to remove because of the prejudice against demi-humans. I mean, despite the change of the official religion of the country being from the Church of 3 Heroes, Church of 4 Heroes, there's some resentment, and it's shown in the episode demi-humans are basically treated like second-class citizens in the country. Yes, and some are sold as slavery. Now, they do have it where, like, we need to build defenses for the Phoenix, so Nafumi goes to the slave market. Yep, goes to the slave market. Which, yes, that's in the book too. And now here's the thing about this. Now, it is mentioned by the Queen herself that she was this proclamation basically returning people, like, basically all the little from this particular village. Now, it's shown in the anime, the proclamation was there, but it's not stated by the Queen herself. It's a piece of paper hung on the wall, which I'm glad they included that, because we're trying to basically breeze this as quickly as we can. So now Nafumi proceeds to buy up all the remaining slaves, because apparently a lot of the other slaves were basically bought up by other people, in the slave market, which is the same. And apparently, people from Raptalia's village are worth, according to the slaveholder, basically about 50 gold pieces a head. And apparently, Raptalia was worth about 25, though actually was 31. So there's also cut out here of basically Philo trying to eat one of the eggs, which is the same type of egg she came from. Yes. And in case you're curious, though, do we see Philo going to a bird form this episode? We do. A couple times. And, well, second time basically leads the whole thing leads to those armies still being there, which actually that was the first time, which that was brought up by, he mentioned about the Queen, why it's still there, because they're allied with one of the countries there, the other ones are not. Yep. So, they're suggested to go to the country of Zebek. So, basically, Nafumi, Raptalia, Philo, Ravchan, and the girl who was part of the Bow Heroes group, I don't remember her name, because she was basically part of the group, kind of in a way since the end of the previous season of the show. I have to figure out her name here. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to remember her name here. Neil himself does appear in the episode. I'm trying to remember the woman's name. Oh, Risha. Yeah, Risha's here too. Yeah, so basically they go to the country, and then they meet. They go to this particular the store, which it's a bar where they meet up. Where they give like this little info, and then they meet up with the slaver from the Mills Mig. Well, actually, it's his uncle, who just looks exactly like him. Yeah, I don't know why in the heck they basically do this for. So then they mention, oh yeah, there's this ox going downstairs, possibly looking for the people from, of course, Reptilia's village. Except the people at the auction here are not actually basically from the village. Not really, no. Yeah, these people are imposters. They claim, they're demi-humans, obviously, but they're not from the. It's all about branding. That's mostly exactly what this is. And like, okay, you have enough money, and he mentions there's not much money, probably because he spent all buying all the slaves. So, mostly put, basically, he goes to participate, he goes to the Coliseum, see what's going on. And while he's here, he gets him a drink, and then he meets a woman who falls for him. Yes. Who is later identified as Nita. Yes. Though her actual name is something else, I'm not going to spoil, but her name is Nita, and Nadia, which is also the title of our next episode. A very beautiful woman, and who made her debut last season, which is very happy to see her. Like, oh my gosh. And the thing is, she is actually the first woman to, well, aside from Raptalia, which they hinted this last season, she's the first person, aside from Raptalia, to basically fall for Nafumi. Yep. You're thinking, really? Oh yeah, really. Yeah. Gorgeous woman. Just a lot of skin. Yeah. And, well, she does become a character. Don't worry about that. And she's a little, I think she's the same age as Nafumi. Let's see. Nafumi is 20. She's about 3 years older, but damn. You get a woman like that to fall for you, Nafumi, like, you lucky dog, you. Yep, of course, he buys her a drink, sees the competition, sees a rich kid with this demi-human, looks like he's got a steel tail on it. Like, this was weird. So they fight, and of course it's rigged, obviously. And then Nafumi basically sort of rearranged his fight where he wins, and the rookie team wins. And of course they compete under mass. It's basically just the original three: him, Raptalia, and Philo. Fade off against the three, and of course Raptalia does kind of understand what's going on. Philo has no idea what the heck is going on. She just wants to fight. Yep. And the episode ends with quite an interesting note here. But this was a damn good episode. I personally loved it because I thought basically overall this was a much better start than the previous season. At least not rearranging scenes, which I think a lot of people got turned off by at the last season, where like people who love the light novels are actually here and they see the anime and they see that the anime decided to rearrange scenes here for no reason. It just questions why the heck they adapt book 6, rest of book 6, rest of book 6, and adapt book 7 through 9. They went these books really quickly. And if you're really curious though, like how many books did it take to cover these books? Like, my gosh. Like, okay, so in the case of the previous season's show, they started pretty much adapting book 6 forward. Yeah. And you might be curious though, like, how many books take to cover book 6? Book 6 is covered in technically 4 episodes. Look at that loose for the previous season. And then we have 1, 2, 3 episodes covering book 7. Book 8, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5. Yeah, it took until, get this. Now, book 9. This will shock you. Book 9 took 2 books to cover this one book. Well, here's the strange thing, though. Like, okay, so they take 5 books to adapt book 8 episodes, but yet 2 for book 9? Yeah, this was really weird. But you can forgive this episode for adapting a lot much because it's just mostly just adapting something again before. So there's that. Okay, so that's going to be pretty much a particular view. Next, I'm definitely going to do a comic corner. And I'm going to go straight to Jujutsu Kaisen right afterwards. Okay, next view. Bye.